UFC Vegas 77. This card is abysmal, but we do have Jack Maddalana as a late addition, so thank God for small mercies. I'm not going to gild the lily on this one. It's a trash card. Let's just get into the action right now. Okay, this is a horrible, very bad trash bag fighter who hasn't fought in 3 years against a horrible, very bad, potentially trash fighter that has fought quite a few times in the last few years. Which is which, does it matter? Perez should win this one, but I'm not picking either of them as this is a bear trap and I'm not going to stick my leg in it. I'm going to take a decision. It seems to be working for me. Alright, I had to do a little bit of extra research on this one. The stats didn't really make sense to me. The official stats associated with the UFC are often very misleading. We've got 0.1 strikes at 44%, and I surely thought that must be a misprint, or so I thought. So I watched Deaton against Sadykov, and he got absolutely humped on the ground quite easily, and I think this is going to be a big problem in this one. Munoz has an accurate takedown game, but isn't exactly a wizard on the floor, so I think this is going to be an ugly, horrid decision that takes place primarily on the ground. Munoz is a decent striker, but I don't love the KO power potential. I hope I'm wrong. At minus 155, I think this actually has a decent shot of cashing. Alright, after getting badly burned by 24-0 prospect Hussein Askabov and still suffering bad fighter PTSD, I decided it would be prudent to look more into Maksum's records. I've become allergic to can crushers. While I'm getting a massive whiff of this here, and this does make me wary, I've watched some of his fights, and this dude Maksum is very good. He has a nice jab, which has troubled Nam in the past, while he goes headhunting, and he's a lot older than me, so... The odds I do not like though, as Nam seems to be inconsistent, but he does find a KO every now and then, and this is a big step up. I'm going to take Azat to tap away and find a takedown and get a finish on the ground, but I think a sneaky plus 1.5 might be the play here, as there are really decent odds on that. Alright, this fight is actually not terrible. I'm going to take Elder here, but there is a caveat. He is coming from Killcliff, which is full of absolute murderers, and it does mean a lot in a fight like this. I think he's going to be more powerful on the feet. He has a strong pressure takedown game, which can really wear on you. Valdez is really tough though, and will be hard to finish. With odds like this, it also feels like a bit of a trap. Elder is coming off 2 losses, and despite the fact they were against good competition, it makes betting on him extremely nonsensical, and I'm personally not going to be doing it. I'm not going to be doing it straight up, and I'm not going to be doing the over or under either. From what I've seen of their careers, Elder does seem more rounded, but I'm getting alarm bells on this, so avoid at all costs. I really like Costa, man. Last time we saw him was against Thiago Moises, and while he did get absolutely ragdolled in that fight, he's really good, and he did show some like toughness and durability, and he's far more well-rounded than Lingo, who adopts a very punch-heavy boxing style. I do think Lingo is slightly better in the stand-up, but he's going to have a very awkward southpaw style to deal with here in Costa, so I think the first is going to be tentative with both men landing decent strikes. Lingo's going to find it harder to deal with Costa's style as the round progresses. Then by the second, I think the tank's drained, and I think Costa's going to find a way to hurt him, take it to the mat, where they are worlds apart in skill. I like Costa, I want him to do well, and I think he's going to get a sub and his first UFC win here. He needs it, he's taken time off, which I think is really going to benefit him here. Alright, this feels like another landmine, I'm not going to lie. Let's look at the basics, shall we? One woman has lost 5 and 6 and is older and has the most horrific grappling game. And she's against an attractive, undefeated fighter with pretty good looking grappling. Again, it is against tomato cans. It is quite hard to spot them in women's MMA, as most of them are. She does have an extensive amateur record, and this is Dudakova I'm talking about here, where she also went undefeated. This should be a no-brainer. We know better. Nunes is an alright striker, but 0 takedown defense. I think she's going to get smothered. I do think she'll survive though, as Dudakova struggles with the rising level of competition. And we're saying that about a woman with a 6-4 record and 4 losses in 5. I'm taking Dudakova by decision, but it's risky. Just cut them all. Alright, we finally got to the 7th fight, and we are finally cooking. I'm going against the grain here though, and I'm actually going to pick the dog in this one. Baghdasaryan is an excellent striker, but he's kind of a one-trick pony. I do admit that one trick and his Muay Thai specialization is actually a pretty good trick. Tucker Lutz, on the other hand, is a solid striker, but will have way more of an offensive takedown game, and I think he's going to apply that game plan. I've seen Melsek fade horribly as fights go on, and I think he's going to be depending on a KO here. Lutz is strong, plays the wear down game, and I think Vegas have kind of shit the bed on the odds a little here. Could Lutz get KO'd? Definitely, but I kind of play a simple game when it comes to these kind of situations. If one aspect of MMA between two fighters is not miles apart and the other is, and especially if that guy's a dog, I take the dog. I'm not betting on Melsek to see him have one good round, then get dry humped for two. I'd rather lose with him getting a potential KO than the potential alternative. Sheesh. Okay, this is a tough one. Most people are picking Mckinney, but I just do not rate this guy. I think he's a sprinter in the cage, and obviously an enormous threat in the first round. But I think Nazem is actually a competent enough striker to not get flatlined here in that round, and then I think he's going to take over. The odds are heavily favouring an early finish on either side, and I'm going to take a risk here and try and take advantage of that. Rather than going for the money line, I'm going to take this to go over 1.5. I think Mckinney will have a flash moment in the first, but Sadykov will survive and then take over from there. I'm not confident to pick Sadykov straight up, because Mckinney is dangerous, but I think this squeaks over the midway point of the second round. Alright, those that have been visiting this channel, especially since the beginning, know how much I love dunking on Jamie Mullarkey, and he pretty much embarrassed Prado, who, as you can tell by the salt spraying everywhere, I picked to win that fight. That one was so hard to watch. I do think, however, that was just a horrid matchup for a young guy that is used to collecting heads, and that this matchup against Azaitar is far more suitable. Ottoman is coming off getting destroyed in the first round by the steamroller, and I think he's going to fight like a coward in this one. His aura of undefeated confidence is gone, and I think he's going to try to bang with the younger Prado, and he's going to get his head smashed. I think Prado has a much better chance here, unless Ottoman turns into a grappler overnight, and I think he's going to find a KO, and I think it's going to be in the first. If it goes past then, be concerned, as this could resemble Rockhold and Costa a while back, but way less funny. Take Dumont, she has the UFC experience, and the betting odds on this one actually make this an attractive parlay fluffer. I think Chandler's regional bias is messing up the odds here as a Stockton slugger, and I think it's there to be taken advantage of. Dumont has decent boxing, but has a far more varied kicking game, and as I alluded to earlier, she's faced much more high-level competition with the likes of Rosa, who's tough, Aspen Ladd, who's kind of tough, and Felicia Spencer, who survived getting slapped around like a piñata against Nunes a while back. The over is of course the play, but I think taking Dumont to get the decision is a nice sweetener, and I do think Chandler's going to be able to take shots and have a few moments. Ugh. I hate this fight, but at least it should be over fairly quickly, as will this breakdown. Harris has had some terrible losses and has been quite inactive since the loss of his stepdaughter, and I'm making this pick purely on sentiment and because of how unskilled and as big of a sloppy mess as this man Parisian is. It's heavyweight, the under 1.5 is probably the sensible play, but equally this could turn into an abysmal hugfest that makes us all physically unwell. I'm going to side with Harris to catch him though in the first and end the fight that way. He's way overdue a win, and I'm purely picking him to do that on sentiment. He loses, he's gone, and Parisian is too much of a gimme as you can find at this level. The UFC clearly wants it too. Alright, this is being built on the prelims, less of that. I'm putting this on the main card, I don't care. Jack obviously isn't getting that Bo Nickel treatment, and this isn't even a pay-per-view. Basil has been making hard work of tinned peas, and Jack is a destructive murderer with 4 finishes in the first round in his UFC tenure. It won't surprise anyone that I'm picking Jack, everyone is, and I think he's going to end this brutally. He's explosive, and this fight is clearly happening as a favour for his 2 cancelled bouts that happened in the last card, and I'm pretty sure they want to make sure he's available for that Aussie card in a few months. Jack to smash him in half a round in embarrassing fashion. If this makes it to the second round, I'm genuinely going to be shocked. This one makes me wary as well. I've been high on Junyoon Park for a while, the Iron Turtle. He's a good boxer, and he has notable wins against Anders, who looked great in his last one, Tayfon Nachukwi, who I'm really high on. Albert Duraev, on the other hand, has a loss to Joaquin Buckley, who was a little consistent but has improved a lot, and that was by damage-based stoppage. The split win against Chidi is what bothers me though. He did win, but Chidi has horrible cardio beyond the first round, and he couldn't find a finish in that one. I think the Iron Turtle will keep the activity going and will have enough of a takedown game and greater activity on the feet to grab an activity-based decision win. I'm picking Decision as the official pick, but I think Julian Park is going to edge it. I'm going to try to not take too long on this one. It's not a terrible main event, and Holm is a legend. While she's 41, she's not had a grueling career and is really excellent standing. She's not as explosive as she used to be, but she's still very competent on the feet. What worries me here for Silva is that while she looks decent at bantamweight, I think that Holm has such a good clinch game that while they remain trading tentatively on the feet, her tie clinches and pushing to the fence will be what gets her the win here. She will be stronger than Silva, and I think she's going to edge out rounds, trading with her, then pushing her to the fence when she gets a little tired, and just being active with knees to the thigh and the stomach. It works well for her. It won't be exciting, it won't be memorable, but I hope Holm wins, as we need experienced women who don't fight like shit to prevent Pena, the most insufferable person on the planet, getting anywhere near a belt again. I could not take that. It's a weak division, but Holm is a name and is very tough to beat. Alright, so my record this year is 171.86, definitely not too shabby. I've got a win percentage of about 66%. I will be back at the weekend to break down this card. Should be a good one. So have a great week, and sorry for the late one. I'll see you all soon.